I saw this sign on a San Francisco bus the other day, and I thought it was worthy of getting a shot of. Obviously, it's a shot of a advertisement for the Quran, there's a website where you can go to and get a free one. Um, you know, that directly, anybody's allowed to make an ad that they want. There's not inherently anything wrong with it. But, in combination with the other three videos I've made, is just make you understand that there is a concerted push in San Francisco against Christianity, and this, of course, is part of that. Quite clearly, it's all kind of related. And those other three videos I showed you were kind of spread out around town, and I actually have another shot I'm going to show you that's related to one of those other videos, which I almost forgot. But what is also interesting is the other day I was up in the neighborhood of Polk Street and Bush, and I noticed this barber shop, which is near H2O coffee shop where I go occasionally. And this is one of the places where I thought I was starting to see American flags pop up all around the same time, and it was in their window that I saw one of them. And a lot of my situation is false flag and confusion. And now I think they took the flag down. There's a picture of a couple guys on motorcycles going down the freeway or something like that. But the point is, I'm sure you picked up on this, it's quite obvious that this ad was very likely done by the same artist who did this ad. I would find it hard to believe that there are two separate, unrelated artists in town who are both producing work that is quite obviously so similar in style. At the very least, it would be two guys that know each other or maybe work at the same agency, but I would say it's a safe guess that it's the same person. And there might not be anything to that either, I mean, who knows? Except that the one other thing that I'll mention about this is, and this could be completely insignificant, I'm sure I'm not the only person who noticed this, but right around the corner, exactly 1 block away from this barber shop is a Muslim temple. The only one I know of in San Francisco. I'm sure there's others, but it's the only one that I've happened to pass by. So, whether or not that's significant somehow, who knows? I mean, the People's Barbershop, I'm not against the people, but I think that's generally kind of a socialist kind of buzzword. I'm not going to get into talking about politics because that's what everybody wants, is for me to constantly just obsess over politics. I'm not going to do that. But anyway, the other shot that I want to show you now is, I showed you a picture of the San Francisco Public Library, and I forgot I had this. This is months old. This is over a year old, I think, this picture. But I showed you a shot at the San Francisco Public Library of how the atheist books were immediately adjacent to the Bible study section. And here we have the military history section at a bookstore called Green Apple, immediately adjacent to the women's studies. So, I think you think, oh, that's no big deal. Well, I'm trying to show you a list of things that's exactly how they're trying to create a state of confusion and, use influence in very, very subtle tactics. It's a wave, it's an onslaught of very subtle, invisible tactics, which is what they've been doing to me for 20 years. And it's things like this and the books at the library that are exactly how they do it. San Francisco is designed for anti-American socialist gay brainwashing.
I never noticed these this sign these little signs right here until after I put the previous clips together. And I also noticed that this bus just happens to have very, very few ads on it at the moment. Like it's mostly blank. And usually those curved things in the ceiling are lined with ads from the front to the back, and right now there are very, very few on this bus. And if you can't read it, what it says is, the views expressed in this advertisement do not necessarily reflect the views of the San Francisco Municipal Transportation Authority. I suppose this is just part of my Truman Show game, right? Like this popped up on the bus after I put the previous clips together in my computer by coincidence, correct?
You know, while I was shooting that last clip, while I was standing on the bus, I was facing to the right of the bus, looking at that little strip with the message from San Francisco Public Transportation, freeing themselves from responsibility for ads on the bus. And I turned and looked to the right, and then I turned back. Okay, in the one spot that I was least likely to look at, in the very front seat of the bus on the left, was sitting an Asian woman. She was there while I was looking at the little strip, you know, talking about it. Immediately after I turned the camera off, she said to me in a very nice, syrupy tone that's so typical of the people who are taking part in my brainwashing. You know, how tall are you? 7 foot? You know, and they intentionally asked stupid questions. And I said something like, guess again, you know, because I knew what was going on. And then she said 7'1". And, you know, I told her, I said, you know, I'm making a documentary about how anti-Christian and anti-American San Francisco is. And she said, but isn't there room for all of us? You know, and I knew that my communication with her was part of it from the very beginning. And that is such a typical way that they use this kind of weird rhetoric to twist everything around. You know, isn't there room for all of us? If you're anti-American, as far as I'm concerned, no, there's not any room for you. Go somewhere else. B, I'm not the one who's been spending much of my adult life trying to brainwash people against their religion or turn gay people straight or anything like that. Okay, it's been the other way around, and it's mainly gays and radical feminists that are behind that. Okay, so you know, that said, you know, you declared me your enemy by doing that, not the other way around. But if you want it that way, fine.